I made a video about this glitch before, but after reading the comments, one thing became obvious. A lot of players were having trouble getting the original method to work. So instead of simply repeating the same steps, I went back, tested the process again, and found a simpler route that removes several unnecessary steps. One important note before we begin. I am not claiming to have discovered this glitch. The method is based on a glitch originally demonstrated by Exumi, so full credit goes to them for finding and sharing it. I simply tested it and found a faster way to perform the sequence. I also want to show you exactly what worked on my setup, because small differences in controls, game versions, or patches can affect glitches like this. Today, I'm going to show you a fast method for getting the Legend of the East Satchel extremely early in Chapter 2, along with access to a large amount of gear that normally takes much longer to obtain. And I tested this from a completely fresh Chapter 2 save. At the point where I performed the glitch, I hadn't even unlocked the horse yet. So, let's stop wasting time and get straight into the setup. First, if you're playing on PC, I recommend changing your interaction key manually. For this method, I changed my interaction key from E to Y. You can use whatever key is comfortable for you, but make sure you know exactly which button controls interaction before continuing. Next, get on your horse and ride around to the back entrance of the store. Leave your horse directly opposite the door. You don't need to position it perfectly pixel by pixel, but keep it close enough that you can quickly mount it later. This is important because the second half of the glitch depends on reaching your horse without wasting time. Go inside the store and open the catalog. Choose clothing, then select any item. It doesn't matter which piece of clothing you choose. The important part is to select the item and use the Examine option. When you do that, the game should move Arthur into the wardrobe interface. Once that happens, back out and close the catalog. And this is where my version of the method is different from many of the older tutorials. You don't need to select another item. You also don't need to scroll through the catalog repeatedly. Once Arthur has been moved into the wardrobe, simply continue to the next step. Now walk directly in front of the wardrobe door. Open the side menu. On controller, use left on the D-pad. It was L in my case. Then press the Options button on the console. It was P on PC. With the side menu still open, open the map. Now close the map again. On controller, hold circle. On PC, press and hold escape. This part is extremely important. Do not close the side menu. The side menu needs to remain active. At this point, you should also see the interaction prompt for the wardrobe. Press your interaction button once. You're not trying to enter the wardrobe here. You're only making the interaction prompt disappear. Now head back toward your horse. You don't need to walk all the way across Valentine or go through the hotel. This is another part I've simplified compared with some of the older versions of the method. Just head straight back toward your horse. As soon as the horse comes into view, get ready to mount it. When you reach the horse, press your Mount button. On controller, that's triangle. On my PC setup, I use the interaction key I changed earlier. Now watch Arthur carefully. The exact timing matters here. The moment Arthur starts swinging his leg over the horse, close the side menu. On controller, hold circle. On PC, press escape. The timing is the key part of this sequence. Don't close the menu too early. Wait until Arthur is actually beginning the mounting animation. Then immediately close it. Once you've done that, get off the horse and go straight back inside the store. Open the catalog again. Go to clothing. Choose any item. Again, it doesn't matter which one you select. Use the Examine option, and if the glitch has been triggered correctly, there it is, the Legend of the East Satchel. You can obtain it extremely early, long before you would normally have access to it. Why this method is easier? The main reason I prefer this version is that it cuts out several steps found in some older demonstrations. You don't need to repeatedly scroll through the catalog. You don't need to cross Valentine unnecessarily. And you don't need to repeat actions that aren't actually required for the final trigger. The important sequence is simply wardrobe, side menu, map, close map, remove wardrobe prompt, ride to horse, begin mounting, close menu, return to catalog, examine clothing. That's the entire idea. What about money? Now, there is one thing you should know. Not everything associated with this glitch is completely free. The legend of the East Satchel itself can be obtained through the glitch, but you need some money. Some of the additional clothing, equipment, or items you may want can still require money. So if you're doing this on a brand new save like I was, and your wallet is almost empty, don't panic. You can simply come back and repeat the process later as needed. That said, this is still an enormous shortcut compared with earning and crafting everything through the normal progression. And honestly, this is exactly why I wanted to make this updated version. I had already covered the glitch once, but when I went back through the comments, I could see that the original explanation was making the process more complicated than it needed to be. So this time, I started from a fresh Chapter 2 save and focused on removing every unnecessary movement and menu step I could. Final note. Because this is a glitch-based method, there is one important disclaimer. It may not behave exactly the same on every game version or after future patches. If Rockstar changes the interaction, menu behavior, or wardrobe system, the method may stop working or require different timing. So if one step doesn't work for you, check that your controls match the setup shown in the video, and remember that the timing around the horse mount animation is especially important. And again, credit where it's due. This glitch was originally discovered and demonstrated by Exumi. This video is my testing of the method and a simplified way of performing it, not a claim that I discovered the exploit. And that's it, cowboys. A much faster route to the legend of the East Satchel right at the beginning of Chapter 2. If this method worked for you, let me know in the comments. And if you're having trouble with a specific step, tell me exactly where it fails and which platform you're playing on. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.
Howdy, mister. You new in town?